Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is January 13th, and right now we are looking at a culmination of Doppler radars here across the Pacific Northwest. You can see precipitation continuing to move up across the region here. We're even going to have some heavier amounts moving across some of northeast Washington as well. There's some flood advisories up for that, as well as for some burn scar areas out there. But we're going to continue that landslide risk out here. It's not too exceptional right now, but just keep it in the back of your mind out there as precipitation continues to pile up across places like western Oregon, Washington, BC, Vancouver Island, then the Olympic Mountains there. So now taking a look here, we're looking at the visible/infrared satellite imagery, and you can see the sun rising across the planet here. You see the storm system to the northeast of the Hawaiian Islands here developing. It's going to set up shop here off the southwest Oregon coastline. Some strong winds are going to come across mainly the Oregon coast here, some of the higher terrain as well. And this will just continue the precipitation here across the Pacific Northwest. Taking a look here, current snow water equivalent percentage of normal. Much of the west is doing pretty darn good right now. We are about average, or many areas above average, as you can see. Idaho doing very well. Montana right around average as well. The Cascades, Oregon, Washington right around average. So doing pretty good so far this year as far as snow water equivalent. That makes for good river and stream runoff as we go into the spring and summer months. This is that moderate to heavy rainfall I talked about. This continues today across some of the areas towards Omak, and you can see this is kind of north of Moses Lake, northwest of Spokane here. So just a heads up for that. Some of the low-lying areas can have some of this runoff from the burn scar areas near the steeper terrain. Rock slides and mudslides are possible. And showing this again here for the avalanche warning. There's avalanche warnings going on up here. And you can see the avalanche danger is very high for eastern portions of the Cascades, including Leavenworth and Wenatchee here, Stevens Pass up north through the North Cascades as well, and still very considerable here to the southern Cascades all the way down to Mount Hood, including the Olympic Mountains there. So heads up if you're going off in the backcountry today. Now, taking a look here, this coastal flood advisory has expired, and the special weather statement is for landslide potential here across the Puget Sound. Just wanted to point that out there. Taking a look at significant wave heights. This is hot off the presses, the European, as of 4 a.m. this morning. You can see that storm system set up shop here off the southwest Oregon coast here, bringing some waves there. We'll get a little bit of a break here before we start to bring some more activity towards Vancouver Island and the Washington coast here. We can kind of see the ebb and flow of the wave heights as these storm systems move in. Might get a bit of ridging here as we go towards next Friday here as well in the weekend here before we bring another potentially strong system in towards Vancouver Island here in the extended. We'll take a look at the details on that system here in a moment. I wanted to show you this. This ran last night. This is the European ensemble control run here. So if I put this into motion here, see the systems impacting us here. But I want to look at and point out is what's coming up into the future here. But you can see a strong system potentially moving through here. Bit of ridging here. Then we kind of get a pattern change. This ridge starts to set up here across some of the Aleutians and across the Gulf of Alaska here, bringing some colder northerly flow. Look at this thing kind of showed up here across the region here. That would bring some lowland snow potential with it. But we are way out in fantasy land at this point. I just wanted to show you guys. I'm trusting you with this information here. Just kind of a signal there for a little bit of cold air moving down across Alaska and BC towards western Washington here as we go through the extended. But do not hang your hat on that. That is just way out in fantasy land now. It's just something for entertainment purposes only. But this is the signal for, our colder setups here as we get the high pressure up over the Gulf of Alaska here, bringing that northerly cold flow down on into the Pacific Northwest. And this is also looking at the same thing here, and we're going to go ahead and look at 850 millibar temperatures. We'll speed ahead to the very end, and I want to show you how this develops. You can see this cold air. You can see it start to build up here across Alaska and the Yukon as it moves down into British Columbia here and potentially out into the Pacific Northwest. But again, purely fantasy at this point, but it is the first signal towards some pretty cold air that we've had here in a while across Pacific Northwest. Now looking at the short term, here's a NAM3KM high resolution model. You can see the additional rounds of precipitation that we're going to be dealing with as we go through tonight. And then that storm system sets up shop here off the southwest coast of Oregon, continuing to spread precipitation up across the region here. Probably going to get some good winds here with that bent back occlusion as this system weakens and fills along the Oregon coastline there. But you can see the bombardment of precipitation across some of western Oregon here as we go all the way through Sunday, and another storm system starts to move down through California towards Sunday afternoon and evening. Now taking a look here at 80-meter wind speeds. I want to show you guys this system rolling in here. You can clearly see it here, this mid-latitude cyclone here driving this bent back occlusion towards the Oregon coastline here, and plus the pressure gradient in front of it. It's going to bring some strong winds for southwest Oregon there. Nothing too exceptional right now, but you will notice it as you go through Saturday night on into Sunday morning here, and some of the higher terrain across Oregon could be getting some pretty good gusts as you go on in through Sunday afternoon as well. Now taking a look here, we're looking at the hot off the presses European model, 4 a.m., 12 Zulu. You can see that storm system here, nice tight pressure gradient on the south side of that. Now we're looking off in the extended a little bit. Storm goes down into California here. The models have been hinting at a stronger system coming here. This one looks a little bit further north, but that's a pretty strong low, a 977 millibar low here. Would cast a fairly tight pressure gradient across the region here. Not a significant windstorm, but we have to watch the track of this because it's pretty far out there at about hour 120 right now, and the model's been flip-flopping back and forth on the position of this low pressure here. So we'll just continue to watch this as this could impact some areas of Vancouver Island and western BC pretty hard here as you go on in through Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. This is Seattle-Tacoma. If you look out towards that time period, you can kind of see it hinting at some gust potential up towards 50 miles per hour as you go on in through the day Wednesday. So we're just kind of watching out for that system right now, but nothing too dire in the forecast as of yet. Now looking at the European here, total precipitation in inches. This is hot off the presses as well. You can see this precipitation building up across some of the Oregon south coastline here, up towards Portland, eventually getting Seattle. I mean, nothing too crazy extreme across the metro, the Puget Sound, Willamette Valley here. But if we go out to the end of this run here, you can see some pretty decent amounts, mainly Cascades West and some of the higher terrain for Northeast Washington, Northeast Oregon, some of the Rockies of BC as well. But yeah, we're going to continue to add on the precipitation here, and this goes on through the following weekend here. This would be about Saturday afternoon. Now, taking a look here, day one excessive rainfall outlook. You can see the Olympic Mountains are still highlighted here in southwest Oregon coast as well. Day 2 and day 3, they don't have anything up for us just yet. They may extend some of this on through Oregon on the day 2 as well, maybe a little bit further inland. We'll see how that goes. But so far, though, day 1 through 3, overall winter storm impacts across some of the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, not too bad. Really, probably the biggest threat is some kind of snow slides, maybe moving over the roadways and whatnot across some of the pass areas up there. But right now, no big winter impacts expected, but always be prepared for it if you are traveling across the passes. This is looking at the landslide potential here. You can see Everett right now is on the right of this threshold here. So some areas up towards, the Puget Sound, some of those steeper hills out there could be at some landslide risk. But for the most part, Seattle, Tacoma Narrows, Boeing Field are generally below the threshold that you need to get landslides right now. We'll revisit this day by day as we get more precipitation. And again, I wanted to point that out. Washington is drought-free. Imagine that. Just some abnormally dry areas here, but that's not a big concern. Still, we're concerned about Oregon. That exceptional drought east of the Cascades still going on there is a pretty widespread area of extreme drought as well. Now taking a look at 24-hour snow totals here, just kind of showing you what's coming up. So you can see some snow coming across the Oregon Cascades. We go through on Sunday afternoon up towards the Washington Cascades as you go through Monday. BC starts getting in on the action here as you go through early to mid this week coming up here. And you can see more additional snowfall probably past level and higher here as you start going through mid and later next week as well. And this again is a running 24-hour total here. But you can see there are rounds of snow that's going to bring some snowfall to the ski pass areas for Oregon, Washington, and BC as we go through the 10-day period. So anyway, yeah, we're going to watch the storm system roll into the Oregon coast here. We'll watch a potential windstorm moving up towards Vancouver Island here a little bit later in the period. We'll watch that. It's still off in fantasy land right now. The model's been waffling back and forth with the position of that low. And then there's that specter of the possibility of a pattern change for some colder weather here towards the end of January here. Way off in fantasy right now, so just kind of keep it in the back of your mind. We'll revisit that day by day, and we'll take a look to see what the models have to say about that as we go. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys are having a good day. Click like, subscribe, turn your notifications on. If you want to join and support the channel, click on the join button below the screen here. You see on your YouTube page there. But otherwise, we'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.